This is a revived Houston Dynamo side looking to snatch the spotlight from Miami. Artur, with this drive for Griffin Dorsey, looking for the angle is Dorsey! Well, this is nothing less than magisterial! Houston's revival! Celebrations and jubilations!
It was a successful year. Anytime you win a trophy and bring a trophy back to the city, we won't catch anybody by surprise this year, so that the games themselves get more difficult. Teams start to figure out what we're trying to do now, and so it's very important for us to evolve. We got to push and get better, or we won't have a chance to have the success that we had last year.
Well, one of the MLS teams that surprised, I think, a lot of people in 2023 were the Houston Dynamo under new head coach Ben Olsen. A pretty fantastic 2023 season. They finished 4th in the Western Conference. They win the U.S. Open Cup championship and qualify for the Concacaf Champions Cup and lost in the conference finals to LAFC. Hector Herrera was a man reborn. He had 21 assists across all comps, just a key cog in their success this past season. And Nico Cantor had a chance to catch up with him at MLS Media Day last month. Here's that conversation.
¿Qué temporada tuvieron? La verdad, impresionante. No sé cuánta gente tenía Houston. No solamente finalista de la US Open Cup, sino que campeón, ganándole a Inter Miami, que estaba enrachadísimo, y llegaron a una instancia muy lejana de los playoffs. ¿Qué pensás que tenía el equipo la temporada pasada para poder lograr tanto?
Antes de la final, ¿no? La unión que había dentro del grupo, la alegría, creo que fue esa parte que nos dio para llegar hasta la final de conferencia, ¿no? Creo que nos quedamos ahí porque a un paso de la gran final, porque nos enfrentamos a un equipo que, en mi punto de vista, era candidato, era el actual campeón y tenía un equipazo, ¿no? Pero yo creo que fue eso, la unión, la alegría que tenía dentro del grupo, eso era fundamental.
Qué bien. Bueno, con Ben Olsen parece que hay cierta energía y todos sintonizan esa misma energía. ¿Falta algo más dentro del equipo para poder dar ese siguiente paso para quizás campeonar en la MLS?
Sí, a ver, con Ben, más allá de esa buena energía y buena relación, ¿no? Yo en lo personal tengo muy buena relación con él, como de trabajo y fuera de trabajo,
hablan?
¿no? En cualquier cosa. Si escuchas una conversación entre él y yo, te mueres de la risa, yo creo. Él entiende poco español, yo entiendo muy poco inglés, imagínate las conversaciones. Pero nos hacemos entender, ¿sabes? Que yo siento que cuando tienes la química con una persona, a veces no necesitas hablar tanto, ¿no?
Mira.
Te entiendes con gestos, con miradas, que está buenísimo estar así con un entrenador, ¿no? La relación que tenemos es muy buena y la energía que él inyecta al grupo también es buenísima.
Wow, increíble. O sea, de las veces que yo he hablado con él, él me ha dicho lo importante que sos vos para el éxito de Houston. Él, ¿qué es lo que te pide particularmente a Hector Herrera para una temporada? Ponele el primer partido de la temporada o en la pretemporada. ¿Qué pensás que él te va a decir a vos? Yo necesito esto de vos.
Él me deja libre que más o menos haga lo que yo crea que está bien y eso me hace sentir muy cómodo, ¿no? Me da mucha libertad tanto en los entrenamientos como en los partidos, ¿no? Él siempre lo dice, es tu equipo, tú puedes hacer lo que tú quieras con él, obviamente para bien del equipo, ¿no? Muchas veces me pide detalles de algún otro partido que vayamos a jugar, que puedo estar más libre, o otro que me pide que esté más junto con Artur, otros que me puedo soltar un poquito más, pero son cosas puntuales, la verdad, las que él me dice. El resto me da mucha confianza y libertad para poder desarrollar el fútbol que a mí me gusta.
Bueno, impresionante. Estás jugando con libertad, con felicidad, como te imponés. Es increíble. Quisiera preguntarte sobre la US Open Cup, que la ganaron. Fue algo sumamente importante en la temporada de ustedes. Hubo polémica hace un par de meses nomás que la Liga no quería mandar a sus primeros equipos a competir. Si fuese tu decisión, ¿competirías en la US Open Cup y por qué?
Para nosotros fue creo, el momento más importante del año, ¿no? Porque creo que fue el rival contra el que jugamos, la final y la importancia que le dimos durante lo que duró la Open Cup, ¿no? Te diría que sí, la jugaría sí, porque creo que nosotros el año pasado le dimos mucha importancia y conseguimos un título, ¿no? Que hace muchos años que Houston no conseguía títulos, no entraba en el playoff y para nosotros fue sumamente importante. La jugaría por eso, porque a nosotros nos ha dado la vida y nos ha dado la energía para poder cerrar bien hacia el playoff y poder llegar hasta donde llegamos, ¿no?
Really nice interview with CHAAAMPIONSSS, Nico. He said some interesting things about Ben Olsen, who I think, Tony, when he was appointed the head coach of the Houston Dynamo, I think a lot of people kind of raised their eyebrows like, is this the right man for the job? But the way Hector Herrera spoke about him and the freedom that he gives his players to put them in a position to succeed and to play their roles that they see as their best. You know, what was your reaction to what Ben Olsen was able to get out of this Houston Dynamo team and all the success that they were able to have last season?
Well, I'm a Ben Olsen fan to start, right? I know him as the man, and I know how he manages people. Mm-hmm. I've spoken to people, and the first mission for him was to get Hector Herrera on his side. Because if you go back the year before, Hector Herrera was going to leave Major League Soccer. He was not happy in Houston with the way things went. He bought in to what Ben Olsen wants to do and what he wanted to do. And let's face it, as a manager, that's the most important thing. Sometimes the ideas aren't always great, but you need your team to buy into it. Mm-hmm. And he got, what do we say? He got a tune out of his team last year because for me, Nico, they scored more, I'm going to call them team goals than anybody in the league last year. Pretty goals where guys were really involved, 4 or 5 passes in the box. And credit to Ben Olsen for getting, we'll call him, he's the captain, right? Getting the top dog in your locker room on board, and then everybody else follows from there.
Well, to build off of that, we talk about structure, organization. Pat Onstad, the sporting director, played under Ben Olsen. He was my teammate in 2011 at DC United. So he goes from that to coaching, was with Columbus Crew, gets the sporting director job with Houston, and hires Ben Olsen. So now you have a relationship and understanding of what this organization means and how do you get back to the glory years where Pat Onstad was in goal for Houston, where they were winning MLS Cups. So I think that starts off everything. And then you're figuring out how do you deal with this roster, because it was built, it was a disaster the way it was built. And this club was heading in the wrong direction. So you go from literally 13th place in 2022. You had a 6-6-5 home record. Houston, no one goes there and gets points. It's impossible. The heat, the way that teams go there and have to struggle to play, no team should come away with points. Mm-hmm. So they go from 6-6-5 to 11-2-4 at home. What a big difference in the established home dominance.
2 losses, yeah, we're doing MLS. Right, win, loss, draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you go from establishing dominance at home and building this roster. Now, the big question mark is Corey Baird. You lose him in free agency. He goes to Cincinnati. Corey Baird, not your prototypical number 9 as a striker, but did so well in this system of just running the channels, stretching the back line, and capitalizing on those opportunities. So I love the fact that they have Hector Herrera and Coco Carrasquilla. I mean, 2 of the best players in Major League Soccer, just ballers. Arthur has complemented them really well. I think Pat Onstad did a good job of seeing what he brought to the team in Columbus and then brought him to Houston. So for me, it's how do they improve?
Don't forget Bassi.
I want to see them take the next step. I think they had a very solid, organized structure that Ben Olsen got the most of, and all credit to Onstad, all credit to Ben Olsen, and permitting Hector Herrera to kind of be the orchestrator in all of this, right? That box midfield was kind of like front and center of their success with Bassi, Carrasquilla, Arthur, and Hector Herrera. You lose Corey Baird. How does this team nominally on a team sheet improve? Do you see them getting to another conference final? Do they see them winning a U.S. Open Cup?
I do.
I feel like they need one more missing, especially after losing Corey Berry.
The thing is, they have the flexibility. They didn't have that before. You got rid of Teenage Hadebe, who was a DP, a center back that didn't play, you didn't need, was a DP, gone. Sebas Ferreira, another DP.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out. Now you have some freedom. The Dynamo didn't have this freedom before within their roster structure. So I like that. Pat Onsted's taking his time. He's not just rushing and signing anybody who's, if you have to wait till the summer, you have a good team to get enough results, grind it out, and then in the summer, make the right additions.
The next step is MLS Cup final. That's what it is for them.
Yeah.
They bring a number 9 in, they have a good enough roster.
Does Coco
100%.
Carrasquilla have to be a part of that equation? Because there
Big
were some,
question.
we
He does.
talked a lot about
Yeah.
him potentially leaving, getting loaned out somewhere. I mean, how important is it for them to try to keep him now? Yeah.
It's essential because he is such a good midfielder at creating space for himself. We see it do with Panama. He can take the game over in the midfield, winning second balls. He can create. He's a great defender. He can kind of do it all, and it's a perfect compliment to Ache because Ache, he's not the quickest midfielder. He doesn't get around the pitch like he used to, but he has so much control. He gets on the ball, and Ache can pick out any player in the field, but he needs players who can work around him. And Coco Carrasquilla can also help with the load in the attacking phase of the game, but defensively, he can provide that cover.
Yeah.
With Arthur, so
Absolutely.
And Ben Olsen, I know you got the UVA connection, but I think he's taken a page out of out of Bruce Arena's book.
No doubt.
In the sense that when I was playing for him, he's a new coach, and I give him so much credit because he's evolved, he's grown, but he didn't have that man management. I think he struggled a little bit with Dwayne De Rosario as well. But as he got older and he stepped away from the game, he could come back in and see where he needed to improve. And it was always the rah, rah, rah. He gets his teams playing, but in terms of coaching individuals, knowing that you have to appeal to the big guys on the team and change the way the relationships work, he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, he really has. They played some beautiful football last season.